It is Friday, July 17th, and we are going to see the Odyssey. I'm here with my sister, I'm here with my girlfriend, and we are going to see Christopher Nolan's newest movie, and I am beyond excited. I can't wait to see this. I will let you know my thoughts once I come out of the theater. We just got out of the Odyssey and I am blown away. I have barely even spoke. I have just been in my thoughts with this movie. I thought it was outstanding. There's just so much here that I wasn't expecting to see. There was horror elements. I'm gonna have more thoughts later.
Alright, so it's Saturday now, and it's been a bit of time since I have seen the Odyssey. I wanted to let myself think about this one a little bit because I had a lot of thoughts right out of the theater, and I found myself kind of speechless because I didn't really know exactly what to say based on how I felt about this movie. First thing I want to say is just hats off to Christopher Nolan and the cast of this movie and the crew, because what they were able to do is something that I don't feel like I've seen in current day movies and movies of the past. It is something very different. The use of practical effects mixed with CGI, the writing, the score, everything came together to provide one of the best experiences I've felt in a movie theater in my whole life. So after Oppenheimer, I did feel that that was Christopher Nolan's best movie. It felt like he was flexing every muscle that he had, and he was pushing filmmaking beyond what we see, especially in movies like biopics, things like that. And I do feel like that's his best movie. So coming out of Oppenheimer, it was a big question of what would he do next, and doing the Odyssey was a massive task. And the fact that he was able to pull it off the way that he did and provide something that was so emotionally resonant and epic and massive, it was just magnificent. I don't want to get too much into spoilers here because I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't really know anything about the story, and I think that that could be the best way to go into the movie, is to just go in completely blind and let Christopher Nolan take you on this Odyssey. There is so much here that is incredibly well done. You're going to want to see it for yourself. I did have a lot of concerns about how Christopher Nolan was going to handle the gods and the mythology in this story, and I feel like he handled it in an incredibly wonderful way that makes you really believe in what the characters are going through. It's realistic in a sense, which is very interesting, and the way obviously that they filmed it was incredible. I don't think that any other director would have been able to pull off what Nolan was able to do with the Odyssey. And on top of that, you have performances from Matt Damon as Odysseus, Tom Holland as Telemachus, Anne Hathaway as Penelope. There is so much here that just provides an overall amazing experience that tells this story, I think, in one of the best ways that it could have been done. Now, the Odyssey sits at about 2 hours and 54 minutes or so, and I will say that the first hour of this movie is a little bit slower in the sense of it is letting you know who these characters are, what are their relations, really getting you into the story before you set out on the journey with Odysseus and what it takes to return home. Now, while you're following Odysseus, he is the main story, obviously, of what's going on this Odyssey, but while this is happening, you're also following Telemachus, Tom Holland's character, the son of Odysseus, basically the fight for the throne and what journey he's going on to discover who his father really was. Now, also in traditional Nolan fashion, this movie is definitely not linear. It doesn't just start at the beginning and go all the way to the end. There are moments where you're jumping back in time, you're following other characters. It is definitely all over the place, not nearly as much as a movie like Tenet or Memento, but this movie definitely does have a little bit of the signature Nolan time play, and I think that it works incredibly well to tell this story in a powerful way. One thing that can absolutely not be overstated with the Odyssey is how absolutely phenomenal the cinematography is and how beautiful this movie looks. There are multiple sequences in the Odyssey where I found myself astounded at what I was watching and what filmmaking is able to be. Sequences out on the water, inside of caves, there was just so much happening that looked so real, and the fact that it was real, you knew that they were filming on location, really just added to the overall beauty of this movie. Like a lot of other Christopher Nolan movies, this is a very stacked cast with a lot of incredible actors, Oscar winners, nominees, just so many amazing performers, and everybody is giving their career best in this movie. Top tier performances from some of the greatest in the world, being directed by one of the greatest directors in the world. It shows incredibly. I think that there could be a lot of Oscar nominations coming for this movie just for the acting, and outside of that, I think this movie is going to get incredible nominations everywhere. It is a little bit tough because Nolan did just win so many Oscars for Oppenheimer, but I think that he is absolutely in contention for another Best Picture winner. Now, this movie is the very first ever movie to be filmed 100% on IMAX. Around the world, it is being treated that way, the way that it deserves to be, and this movie is sold out IMAX 70mm, IMAX in high-profile locations around the world, just sold out for weeks and weeks and weeks. It is actually really tough because I live pretty close to the Cineplex 70mm Vaughan, and I feel lucky because I know a lot of people are flying out to go see it there, so I'm doing my best to get tickets and go see it again because I am dying to see this movie twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. It is just such a good experience. Everybody already knew as well how good Ludwig Göransson is with his music, composing, Black Panther, Oppenheimer, The Mandalorian, Sinners, Tenet. He is giving us incredible music every single time, and the score for the Odyssey is just as good as everything else he has ever done. There are moments in this where I was just blown away by the score, the way that he was using drums and choirs. It was just such a good experience to provide the background that you really needed for this epic journey. And I will be going more in depth in the future with more thoughts on the Odyssey, going into spoiler talk. I just wanted to give my real quick first impressions, which are 10 out of 10. This is a perfect movie. There isn't really anything I would change. I think that this is going to be a major awards contender. It's going to make so much money. Easily my favorite movie of the year so far. I am very excited to talk more about this movie. Follow me on Instagram as well if you would like to see my reviews sooner, anything that I have to say, as well as my letterboxd. Those will get posted basically right away. Anyways, I hope that you guys are going to go watch the Odyssey. Let me know what you have to say.